Welcome to FitBody Lifestyle, the show where we dive deep into the world of fitness, health, business, relationships, and the art of living a balanced life. I'm Jamie.
And I'm Greg, and we're here to give you the benefit of our experiences in the fitness and bodybuilding industry, the corporate world, running a business, personal development, and building healthy relationships.
Whether you're sweating it out in the gym, hustling in your business, or seeking balance in your everyday life, you're in the right place.
So lace up those sneakers and grab that water bottle, and let's get ready to transform our minds, our bodies, and our lives.
Welcome back to another episode of FitBody Lifestyle. We are so happy that you joined us today for part 2 of our conversation with Thais.
Part 2, I was just saying.
2.
No, I was agreeing with you, part 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this is my lovely co-host here that's helping me. Are you my hype guy?
I'm your hype guy. Two. Part 2.
IFBB Wellness Pro, Thais Cappelli.
Yes, Cappelli.
Rewind. Yes, and coach, FBF coach,
Yes,
extraordinaire. And we're so happy to have her here. And hopefully everybody got to hear episode number 1. If not, you can check that out in last week's. And we're going to delve even deeper today. But first, what's your check-in word?
my check-in word is resilience.
Ooh. I love that
We're
one.
talking about
stereo.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, I really love that one. And it's very fitting for kind of where we left off our conversation last and where we're going next.
I just thought about the fact that when I was, when I said that I was going to Brazil after I was here for 3 years, I got this tattoo on my arm, and it's a Marilyn Monroe quote, and this is "Good things fall apart, so better things can fall together."
Oh, I love
and
that.
I really feel like my life ran by that, and it is just a reminder that, like, if something happens, like something that you really cherish kind of goes away, like just wait, something better is coming.
That's beautiful. So it's like the saying that when a door or when a window closes,
another
Yes.
one door closes, a window may open, or another door can
something
open.
like that. I don't think I said that right, but
When one door closes, 2 doors open.
Oh, there we go. Thank you. The non-American knows the American sayings better than No, you're American now, though. So
I am, dual citizenship.
Yes. So where we left off is we were talking about how you decided to, because you originally were competing as bikini.
Yeah, well, I first did my show in the NABA Federation. I did toned, which was kind of bikini. It was the smallest division. And then coming into, because in Brazil at that time, my FBB wasn't big. NABA was really big. And of course, NPC Worldwide now is huge. Yeah, so
this was back then.
Yeah, so then now I was like, no, I want to do NPC. I want to do the Rio, because then you get to go to the Olympia.
I love it. The Rio Federation.
Yes, the Rio Federation. I don't even think they have NABA anymore.
I don't know.
Yeah. So, but anyway, then I did, I did tone, now I did bikini, and then switched to wellness.
So why?
So that was my feedback. And I did not want to be wellness at first. I had my heart on bikini. And because I just, like I said, I came from Brazil and we already had wellness there. And I saw a lot of things that girls were doing that I did not want to do with myself, like the extreme use of PEDs and all the side effects, the masculinization, virilization stuff. I did not want to go through that. But I did 2 seasons as bikini. And
It just wasn't a fit.
Like I said, they would look at my calves, and I'm pretty sure they just wouldn't look at me again. Like, I don't know. I think it was just something about my symmetry, like I was just, and also not to mention for me to look like that, to somewhat fit into the bikini division, I was struggling. Like, it was not fun. My prep was not fun.
Well, and I think that's a great point, because that's why the wellness category really came about, because there are those people that for whatever reason, maybe it's genetic, maybe it's the background in whatever sports they played growing up, they've got that little bit of an imbalanced physique where they carry more muscle in their lower body. And so that's really, that genetic opportunity, let's say,
Yes,
that you
exactly.
realized you had because you were having to not train.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So for me, like my last, prep as bikini, I was not lifting weights. I mean, I was doing upper body. So upper body, I was doing regular, what I call bro lifting. But for lower body, it was just hit exercises like air squats, and I couldn't do Stairmaster. I had to do, my cardio had to be running. Like I had to run for cardio, and does anybody like running? I mean, some people do.
There are people that love
And
running.
I was like, is something,
I'm not one of
are
them.
you okay? Like whenever I have clients, they're like, oh, but I love running. I'm like, are you okay? Because for me, running is not fun. But yeah, I mean, like I've always been beefy on the lower half for sure. So yeah, so then do you remember when I reached out to you?
I do.
And I was like, Jamie, please, please coach me. I will make you proud. Because my thing was, I was like, I came to the realization, okay, for me to thrive, I have to go with the division that favors my genetics. I can't be going against and also I realized that I wasn't healthy. Like I was eating so little. I was always starving. It was hard to get lean like that too, and like just, I missed lifting heavy. I mean, like I said, remember on the part one, my grandpa was a power lifter. My great grandpa won strongest man in the world in Russia. So I'm a strong girl. Like I like putting weight, obviously no ego lifting, but
I wouldn't say that's obvious.
I do think it's good to clarify.
I do think that with you in particular, I do think there's a little bit of ego that comes into the way, and not in a bad way, Thais. I do think that there's a part of you that thrives on being able to push yourself, and in that sense, that's where the ego shows up. But
not to the point of missing.
That's right. That's the point. Yeah, not to the point of going beast mode.
I've always been very, very good at not lifting more than I can, because I would think it's even embarrassing. Whenever I go to the gym and I see somebody going like this, to do curls, I'm like, that looks funny. So I don't want to be that person, you know what I mean? Because like we can tell when you're ego lifting. I want to be that person that is just doing the exercise fully.
I want to go back
Correctly,
to something.
yes.
Because I just had this. We talk. So Jamie presented this past weekend at our athlete summit on what's your division and what division you belong in. And as we're talking about this conversation, just something that hit me is that I think in this sport, what I see is athletes focus so much on their division rather than on the reasons they are meant for a division.
Yes.
And so, I see this happening with Fit Model is that a lot of our bikini athletes that really would fit well into Fit Model are balking at that a little bit, are resistant to that a little bit because they think that bikini represents this certain thing. And it's like every division represents what it represents. And instead of worrying about what division you belong in, let's figure out how you like to train, what your genetics are, how your body is developed 100%. Right now, and focus on those things.
What you want to look like.
Right. And that will actually select how do you want to look in the off season? Yeah. How much weight do you want to put in the off season? I mean, if you want to put on a bunch of weight in the off season, then physique and women's body or bodybuilding may be a better division for you because that there's more bulking in those off seasons. Then in wellness, there's a little bit more bulking probably in wellness, not probably, there's a little bit more bulking in wellness than there is in bikini and less bulking in Fit Model than there would be in bikini. Yeah. Or, and it varies by person. And I know these are general categories, but
I understand.
I'm just going to say it depends because it depends on how much muscle you need to put on for your category. Yeah. And in general.
And the point really, but the other thing that I never hear, I don't necessarily not, I don't want to say never hear, but how do you like to train? Because if you're a person that likes to just train super hard, man, bikini and Fit Model may not be the right divisions for you.
Well, it might be in the beginning if you don't have enough muscle, but at a point you're going to need to then, which is the cool thing about having different
multiple divisions.
Yeah, because people can continue to evolve.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, and that's the thing a lot. I have some clients that would do great in Fit Model, and I'm like, I think we should try, and they're like, oh, but I've been trying bikini for so long. And I'm like, exactly. How is that going? How is that going? Did you turn pro when you wanted to? Because I would say like, I did 2 seasons of bikini and it was a disaster. I'm coming on to my 3rd season in wellness. Like I just started my 3rd season as an IFBB pro.
Right. And you already placed it
5th on my pro debut.
Right.
Yeah. So like I've always been like in bikini, I was always last. In wellness, I'm always, in the podium. So so that's why, I tell people that I'm like, go. And then also the lifestyle. Really important. The lifestyle is super important. I have some girls that want to be wellness, but they want to do chest press. Bench press. They want to do upper body, and I'm like, why don't we try figure? I think figure would be really good for you because you're bigger. You want to be bigger. You don't want to be as small as bikini. I get it. So you want to try wellness, but if doing these chest exercises make you happy, then so be it. Like, do what makes you happy. Because when you are doing what makes you happy, you're gonna thrive. If you're always depressed and you're going against what you want.
We get this all the time with
cortisol is the enemy. Come on, we know that.
And we get this where people are fighting their genetics and fighting how they want to train, and as a consequence, it produces that mental disconnect. And so they're not really happy because bikini training is very discrete training. It's very discrete, and fit model is going to be even more, not even more, but it's also going to be discrete. Wellness is going to be discrete. Every category is going to have a little bit different training approach depending on what you want to achieve. And so let's not worry about your division. Let's worry about how do you want to train? How do you want to look in the off season? How just those things. I think that's a really good tip. We maybe should have done a fusion hack on that instead.
Yeah, for sure. No, I think a lot of girls are struggling with the concept of going down in a division.
And they're not going down; they're just going to a different division, right?
Exactly. And I have this client, and I think she's going to do so good this year because she, I talked to her. It took a little bit. But she is now on board for FitBody. You saw her; she looks amazing.
Amazing.
I'm so excited. We have a plan, and we're gonna execute it, and we're gonna see how it goes. And she's been trying to turn pro for 5 years. So let's do what works best for you for your body, so that you're healthier too.
Well, and that's one of the other dynamics in the IFBB that's so exciting is that you can turn pro in one division and compete in another division, right?
Yeah, and I told her that too.
And that's super exciting, and that's super adaptable and flexible to your body and the seasons that your body may go through. We have a IFBB figure pro that we're training now for bikini because she wants to do bikini, and that. That's super exciting. It's one of the great aspects of bodybuilding and this division that makes it exciting.
I was very excited when FitModel came out because I was like, I have clients that would do so good in it, and I have clients that they want to be more natural. They don't like getting. Bikini now evolved so much too.
Yeah.
And for you to get to that level, it takes a lot of conditioning, and it takes a specific genetics because not everybody was made to be that lean. It hurts to be that lean. Like it physically hurts. Sometimes I'm driving and I'm like, oh my God, I can feel all of the bones. Like it's uncomfortable. Like it's hard to sleep, right? Like you're feeling like I can't sleep on my side. Oh my God, it's hurting. And so I think, go with what's going to make you happy for sure. For as far as wellness goes, for me, that was what I was telling myself. I was like, I need to do what's going to make me happy. I remember my first week on my wellness protocol. Oh my God, I was loving the workouts. I was like, oh, I miss this, like the heavy squats. And then I had to play catch up for a little bit because for the longest time, I had to keep my size small. I was doing everything. I was starving. I was doing everything I could to stay small. And it was still a struggle. So, and then when I switched to wellness, I promised myself, like it was a promise to myself that I would never allow myself to go into the extremes and lose my femininity and do things that would cause me long-term side effects. Like I put barriers. I set barriers for myself, and I still live through that.
Right.
Sure.
And which is one of the reasons that you and I decided that we were a good fit, because you knew that was also my mentality and my perspective too. So I feel like it was a really good meeting of the minds in terms of, where you were. And I think that's an important point. Like you want to find a coach that is aligned with your goals and also with your boundaries and that they are going to respect those boundaries.
Yes, for sure. For me, like I really wanted you to coach me specifically because when I was looking at all the coaches, it would be like up and down, right? Or you would look at their athletes and some of them would look feminine and some of them would look questionable. And I was like, I don't know, like if I want to risk it, For you, all of your athletes look healthy. They all look feminine. They all look like what they used to, their face is the same as 2 years ago, or 3 years ago or whatever. And not to mention another big point for me was after having 10 coaches before that and going through so much with other coaches, I was like, for me, I need to find somebody that has long-term athletes. That has because that is what means to be a successful coach, is to have athletes and them not wanting to leave you because they're so happy and they're achieving everything that they want with you and they feel heard, they feel respected. Now you have this connection. And it takes so long for a coach to get to know your body. Like I tell my clients all the time, I'm like, you can't just jump into prep with me. I don't know you. Like, I don't know your body. I don't know your maintenance calories. I don't know how you're going to react. I don't know what your values are, what your boundaries are, if you have any personal issues that I can guide you through, So we need that period of time when we get to know each other so that I can really tailor a plan that's 100% for you. Because if I don't have that base knowledge, how am I going to know exactly what your needs are? Because every person has different needs. So I wanted to find a coach that has that track history of sticking with their clients for long term, because I was like, I'm tired of changing coaches.
Right.
I want to stick with the same. And here we are 4 years later.
No, totally. Well, and I do think that all those experiences with past coaches, because I can say that for me as well, because I had, more than one, it gives you a lot to think about in terms of how you want to be as a coach, whether it's something you don't want to do or something you do want to do. So, and I think that along with your educational background, with that psychology, that experience in social work, I know you marry all those things together to deliver to your clients like a very special experience. And I do think like mindset is such a big part of what we do.
Yeah.
Like what we do is hard, and anybody listening that's competed before or is in their process of competing for the first time, even when we do it in the best ways, using all the best tools, it's still not easy. It requires a lot of focus, discipline, and life happens.
Yes.
It's like there's no prep where no life happens.
Yeah.
Life is still going on. And so like being able to be able to do that. So I love watching you be able to help people navigate through that. I mean, would you say that that's been huge for you?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like a lot of the times that's what I tell my clients, what you just said. I'm like, it's life. What are you going to do about it? Like, it's okay. It's really okay. Like I have had time, like my last off season, like the first 3 months, I was figuring out my mental health. Like I was going through a lot. And I had to really just take some time and be like, okay, well, I didn't put in any muscle. Like I didn't improve at all during that time, I'm pretty sure. But then after that, then I improved a lot because I had some things out of the way. So
seasons. We have seasons in life.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and it was important for me to have you guys by my side during that time because not everybody understands. And the thing is, not everybody has the time to understand, right? And I know I'm a lot as a client for you. I know I'm a lot because I'm very anxious. And sometimes I'm happy. Sometimes I'm questioning myself. The self-doubts creep up anyway. So,
but I do think that also makes you a better coach. You know what I mean? Because you have had to overcome and deal with a lot of those things internally. So when your clients start going through those things, it gives you more tools to be able to go, hey, I know what that feels like. I can relate to that. And even like I see, what you're sharing on social media and like how transparent you are, because everything's not always hunky dory. And like, people go through different mental health crises in their life, could be from an event that happens. It could be from past things, trauma that's coming up. Like, I think, being able to recognize that and your dedication to working through it is part of what makes you successful, both personally as an athlete and then also as a coach. So
yeah. With my social media, honestly, I missed that when I was like trying to get there. I couldn't find a person that I could look up to that was being honest, that was showing the good and the bad. You know, you look at these IFBB pros and you want to be inspired by them, but then you think something's wrong with you because you don't always look that pretty. Like, oh my God, like I have some acne now because I'm doing so much cardio and I'm sweating so much. You know, my skin is so oily and now I have acne and these girls look like they're perfect and they're flawless. And then I'm like, why am I not like that? You know? And then now that I'm an IFBB pro, then I want to use it to be that role model that I was seeking that I couldn't find, you know? And also maybe if I can help somebody like a young girl who wants to start competing in wellness to not go through what I did on my first, you know, prep where I just ruined myself and took everything my coach told me to take, then if I can save one person, then for me it's worth it because I wish that I had that.
Right. The education, the support, the communication, like all of the things that can help you thrive. And I know we wanted to delve into, and I don't want to go to, I was going to jump into the old school versus, unless you had any other questions.
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I do. Before we move into old school versus modern bodybuilding, talk a little bit about the mental shift that you had to employ going from bikini to wellness and how you would help somebody navigate that divisional shift.
Or any divisional shift.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, the training part was so different, you know, so I had to focus, my focus was completely different. It was now to grow. It was the opposite instead of staying small. And I had to learn how to be uncomfortable with the growth season. I mean, I took a whole year off. And that actually, like, looking back, I wish I would have used that year better because I didn't. Like, I didn't give my all. I didn't, like, if I had given my all, if I made sure that I ate all my meals and I was on track, I was working out. Working out is the easiest part. I always tell people
That's
that.
never the challenge. Yeah.
Right. Working out should be the easiest part. Like for you to be a bodybuilder, it's like, oh, I want to be a runner, but you don't like running. You know, for if you
I'm going to do marathons, but I hate running.
Yeah, like so bodybuilding, like you have to start by like if you can't be consistent at the gym, you know, that it's gonna be rough for you to be bodybuilding. Because for me, the gym is my temple, is my place where I go and throw all the stress away and shut off all the noise and just focus on what I'm doing at that moment. So I don't miss it. Like it's, you know, I hate missing the gym. And then the food, eating more food for me was hard, you know, because I was used to eating like a bird. And now I have to eat potatoes and rice. And I was a little scared to eat and gain weight. So I wasn't like really consistent with eating all my food. So I'm sure that kept me from growing. But then
Now you've seen how much food your body actually can handle.
And I'm like, so that's what I'm thinking. Like if I had used that time more efficiently, I would have definitely had grown a lot. But I think for me, the mindset switch really happened during my first wellness prep. Because I don't think he hit me until then. Like that, what I had to do to reach that goal. And not also, it's really when the first time, right, in the USA that I've been competing in the NPC division, that the judges were looking at me on stage. And I was like, okay, so now everybody sees I have potential. Because I always knew I had potential in bodybuilding. I mean, my grandpa was, like, I have genetics, I have all that, but I wasn't in the right place. So now I had to, the first show I did in wellness was the Tampa Pro. Mm-hmm. And
which we decided literally
yes,
like 2 days before.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was 2 days before. I was just going there to see you and do a in-person check-in. And you were
like, you look so good. You want to get on stage?
Yeah. So then the first feedback that I got, I don't remember what judge it was, but he was like, you look great. Like you have so much potential. And I was like, that is the first time, because
I've been waiting to hear that.
Yes. So that's when it really flipped for me. I was like, okay, now I really, not only I see my potential, everybody else, my coach, the judges, everything. So So that's when I was able to actually just grow into the division. And then that prep was good, but it wasn't as good as my following prep when I turned pro. It was the first prep that I did that I did not even cheat with an extra like grain of rice. That was the first time in my life that I finished a prep and I was like, I did not cheat once. I never missed a workout, never missed a cardio. I was never below my steps. I was never underwater. Like it was so good. So it takes a while to get there. Like I tell my clients, you're not a robot. You're a human being and you have flesh, you have blood. I'm not expecting for you to just straight up, I'm gonna check your macros and it's all perfect. Like
Day
no,
one.
it's
Right.
a process to get there, to build that mentality. It takes experience. It takes learning from your mistakes, especially with nutrition. You know, whenever I get somebody saying like, oh, this week was bad, I binged. I said, okay, what can we learn from that? What did you learn from that? That is the most important point. The point isn't to not make mistakes because that's going to happen. The point isn't, you're not failing. You're just being a human being. Like, I think that is like and then now going into the modern versus old school bodybuilding is like, they want you to be a robot in old school bodybuilding. Like you can't feel feelings. You can't feel anything. You have to go through all of these suffering, all of this extreme and still be perfect. Like the human body was not created to do that, So I think that's
Right. And I feel like that can create a lot of angst. It can create, like we've talked about, self-sabotaging behaviors, because when people feel like there's no wiggle room at all, they have to be so perfect. And the minute they aren't, which we are human, as you said, and inevitably sometime we're not going to be, then they just crater and fall.
Yeah.
So that's that resilience that has to be built up over time. And I love that you brought that up too so much, is that, people will look at like you now as a pro and like as compliant as you are and as consistent as you are and think, I've got to be, but I love that you explained it took time to build the mentality, to build the discipline, to gain the tools, to be able to be like, even because I know you could in your head go, okay, I know if I have this meal, I can put this. Like you already know these things. Whereas when somebody's new, they're learning. They're having, in the beginning, you do macros and you're like, you feel like it's Tetris.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, if I do this,
it's
no, it messes
overwhelming
everything.
at first. Yeah, it is. Which is when I really offer help. Like I don't like meal plans. I think meal plans are a disaster, a recipe for a disaster.
I agree.
And so, but when they come to me and they're like, I've never done macros. I don't know. I'm like, that's okay. I will teach you. Like, that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to teach you. I'm here to guide you. I didn't just start knowing exactly what to eat to meet all my macros. Like, I actually sometimes do start my clients, if it's their very first time on macros, I don't just start them straight on macros. I actually provide a meal plan. And then I'm like, okay, from this meal plan, now you make the changes, right? Like, now you can make adjustments. Like, do you not like this type of food I put? That is totally fine. Change for something else. And then adjust the amount. And then we get it slow steps, like baby steps.
Well, I think the mistake that a lot of newer athletes think is that macros and meal plans are two different things. They're really not. Macros are a meal plan.
Yes.
And the people who do the best with macros are the people who plan ahead and say, hey, tomorrow this is what my macros are, or set them for the week or whatever. And then you eat based on what that meal is, right?
Absolutely.
It's a meal plan. That's really no different.
You create.
Right, that you create
You're
based
in
on
control
what
of it.
based on what works best with your body. And so I think, what I see a lot is that we talk about meal plans and macros as though they are completely opposite ends of the spectrum. They are not. A meal plan, where a meal plan falls short in our shared opinion, is that it's so rigid, it's tied to foods that you may or may not like, and that may or may not do well with your body because it's a meal plan. So you're stuck with that.
Yes.
Versus macros providing you with the flexibility to adjust, to make adjustments. You know what? I don't want ground turkey today. I want tilapia, or I don't want tilapia today. I want steak, or whatever. And I can fit that in my macros. And if I do it the night before and and to log the night before, that is the recipe for success.
Yes.
And there are two other comments I wanted to make about what you just talked about. One is, you're not a robot. And that reminds me of this one thing that Adam Grant, one of my favorite authors, he has this little infographic, and I'll give this to clients from time to time, is that it's spikes. And basically what it says is your best is going to look different every day. So when we talk about giving 100%,
Absolutely.
100% is not a straight line.
No.
100% is based on what you can give for that day. You wake up, you guys have to deal with something I don't have to deal with, which is your monthly visitor. And when that monthly visitor comes, 100% on that week is going to look different than 100% when your monthly visitor is not appearing that week, right?
exactly.
Or how much sleep you
or
got.
how much sleep you have.
Or what's going on in your life.
That's right. Yeah,
like, are you going
you have
through
a
a
death in the
hardship
family,
with your
right?
relationship?
Right.
Like, yeah.
So I love that little infographic that Adam Grant, if you're listening, which you're probably not, but if you are, I thank you for providing that for me, because that has really helped me kind of understand a lot more about what does 100% look like, and why we talk about progress over perfection. We don't want perfection, we want progress. So hit whatever your 100% is today. That is different, but it's still 100% if you're giving all you have. And that lends into this next topic that I had this conversation a couple times this weekend about undeniable. I know you've consulted with clients. I know Jamie has, but I'm betting that you've consulted with clients, Thais, who says, when I hit the stage, I want to be undeniable. Well, there's no friggin' thing. There's no such thing as undeniable, especially in bodybuilding, because it's a subjective sport. There is no such thing as being undeniable. There's no person that walks on that stage and says, I'm going to win. That's the judge's job. Okay.
I mean, you can say it.
You can
It's
say
just-
it, right?
Yeah.
But you're right. You can say I'm going to win, but the judges are ultimately going to determine who wins. We define undeniable a little bit different, and you just kind of talked about that. It's the difference. So the year that you had your improvement season, where you were not doing everything that you could have done. You were not doing your 100% on what you had to do every day. You were good, but you weren't as good as what you know you could have been.
Yes.
That year you were not undeniable.
Right.
Had you done everything the way that you wanted to, and given that 100% every day, then you would be undeniable. Undeniable does not come from
The outcome.
the outcome. It comes from your process. Did I do everything to the best of my ability every day? If you do that, then you're undeniable. It doesn't mean that you're going to get the win. It doesn't mean that, you're going to get the accolades. But what it does mean is that you are reinforcing the process and the work that went into that process, because that is what is going to take you to outcomes that you may not have even dreamed about. Fair?
Yeah, absolutely, for sure.
Interested in changing your life or stepping on stage? Join FitBody Fusion today.
Experience the FitBody Fusion difference with tools, knowledge, and community support to reach your healthy and sustainable lifestyle.
We guide thousands on their fitness journeys, from seasoned athletes to those who are simply seeking a healthier life.
Our expert coaches provide personalized plans and unwavering support, empowering you to thrive.
FitBody Fusion is more than just training. It's a community. We understand the challenges of solo fitness journeys, which is why we foster a supportive environment where members encourage and motivate each other.
Join the FitBody Fusion community today and unlock your full potential.
Head to fitbodyfusion.com to sign up for a free consultation.
And do it today.
No, I completely agree with that, and I say that a lot. That progress is not a straight line up. Like, it's going to be wavy. It's going to go up and down, and that's when I love, the app we use for, to do the check-ins and everything, how, the weight, we put in the weight and you see a graph, and it's so interesting. Like in prep, like you see, like, it's like a little worm that's going down. Like, the weight is going down, but it's not straight.
No.
Like, it's a little, it's curvy, but eventually we get there.
Right.
So that's the same.
It's not the distance between 2 points that matters. It's the distance over time.
Yes.
And people talk about this relative to the stock market all the time. Is
Right.
that on any given day, the stock market's up, the stock market's down, but the trajectory over time is up. And or in our case, we want the trajectory going down, or, whatever, but it's not the space between 2 points that matters. It's the space between 30, 40, 50 points.
Yeah, it's definitely the long-term outcome, and that's the thing with bodybuilding, teaching long-term gratification. It's being focused on what we're doing to get there. But yeah, no, I completely agree. And I think that for, if the visualization of that is definitely really helpful, because like we want everything like right now. Right. And then how do you navigate through that when that's not possible?
Yeah.
like let's be realistic. Okay.
Well, and you've said it, I think, in episode 1, is that we want everything right now, but the things that truly matter and the things that are truly meaningful for you and that fulfill you take time. And at the end, it takes what it takes. And the question is are you willing to focus on process over outcome,
Yeah.
and then things will happen.
Yes, for sure. And do what it takes
Right.
too, because and be patient with yourself. And, like I love that, I track my clients' cycles. And it's so funny whenever they're freaking out and the weight is a little bit higher. I'm like, are you about to get your period? And they're like, yes. I'm like, then okay. Like
Then they'll text you or message you the next day. I just got it.
Yeah, right. Like, and I'm like, that's what you're just being a healthy woman. Like it's, especially for bodybuilding is really hard for women because like, and I'm thinking like my next show, it's going to be at the end of the month. That's usually when I get my period. And I'm like, oh my God, like what if I gain weight? Like, cause we can't control some of these variables. Like it's.
I've told this story before, but it's still the best story I know about a cycle appearing on a show weekend. Amy, I hope Amy's okay with me telling this story because I told it when she was here. So Amy was at the Legions, I believe it was. Was it Legions? Yeah.
It was.
And she literally walks in to check in with us 2 days before the show, and she says, "I'm having my period." And she was calm, cool, and collected. And her response and the statement that she said was, "Well, this gives me something else to learn how to deal with for a show, and that helps me build my resiliency, and that helps me become a better athlete." And I was so like I was beaming because of that attitude. You have got to. Bodybuilding is so fantastic because if you surrender to it, it allows you to deal with all these other adaptations.
Yeah.
It's why I love macros so much, because macros are an adaptation.
Yeah.
They allow you to adapt to what your cravings may be, what your mood may be,
absolutely.
right?
And that's so
yeah.
important for your relationship
I
with
agree.
food.
Yep.
Like to me, that's the biggest thing. Is like that is one of the biggest reasons why I hate meal plans is because it's not tailored to you.
No.
Like I'm a full big believer that everything needs to be individualized for each person. How am I going to know what you like to eat and what you digest better? There is no way that your coach is going to know that. You have to live in your own skin
And it changes over time.
To feel what each food does to your body. And now that I've been doing macros for so long, I have such good body and physical awareness with myself. Like I know exactly what I can and cannot eat in prep. Coming into peak week, I know exactly the foods that bother me and that don't. Like for dairy doesn't bother me at all.
And one other point to tack on to that is after you've done macros for a point of time, and I know that you're this way, it becomes less in certain seasons where you're not needing to track as strictly. That training, that ability to look at a portion and know, okay, that's 25 grams or that's 50 grams approximately. You're able to eat intuitively using that macro foundation.
Yeah. It's learning food, really your relationship with food, because I read a book one time called Deep Nutrition, and the book is like this thick, but it's amazing. And it's a doctor, and she talks a lot about what she didn't learn in medical school about nutrition that she learned later on because she had issues with her gut health. And I learned so much from that because that really made me see food as not just not as a source of joy, but as a source of health, well-being, fulfillment. So my nutrition is very intuitive because it's like everything I eat it tastes good for me, but it has a purpose in my body. Like like I'm so big on fiber, like you know that.
I do. I was just getting ready to ask you about it.
All of my clients know that. Like I'm like, you're not hitting your fiber. And they're like, okay, like, and I help them, it takes a little bit to learn how to increase fiber and to have a
And you have to be careful not to increase it too quickly.
Too quickly, yes. You have to increase like by 5 grams every so many weeks. But yeah, so that's when I really started seeing food differently. I started going to the grocery store and focusing on whole foods that my body is going to thrive on. And then I saw how that changed my skin, my body, like my metabolism. Like, I mean, there's no like one food that's better than the other in a sense of like general, but for individuals, yes, there are. Like I can't eat sweet potatoes for longer than 3 days in a row. My body can handle sweet potatoes for 3 days. After the 4th day, I start having gas and bloating and stuff. Same thing with broccoli and some other things. Like I can't eat broccoli.
Right. So just because a food is a whole food or a good food, that might not work.
And so when coaches do meal plans, they're doing just a standard meal plan. It's not tailored for you because they don't know what you can digest and you cannot digest. So the off-season period that we're learning about macros is so essential because I tell whenever I do consultations, I'm like, I work well with clients that can be independent and that want to grow their independence because I'm here to guide you and teach you, and then you apply these things on your own and then give me feedback on what that's doing to your body. That's how we work together. Like I don't believe in me doing everything. I believe in working together as a team. And so that part of learning about your body and how your body digests things like is crucial.
I agree.
And then when you are, and I have a client and she was like, I have never had any like food obsession since I've been with you, and that's amazing. Like I don't have cravings.
That's huge.
Yeah. So when you're reversing, it's not that hard because you don't feel like you missed out on too much,
Mm-hmm.
Like I remember I said on part 1, I love sweets. I crave sweets. So I know that I have to have very savory meals the first, part of my day. And then my last meal is like chocolate rice cakes with almond butter and honey because I really want to finish my day with like a sweet.
And it's something that you can look forward to
Yes.
so that way you don't go off track during the day because you get to have your little something in the...
But like a coach would never make me a meal plan with that.
Right.
That's something that like it's my thing. Like I'm so excited to my last meal is my chocolate rice cakes. I get so excited. Like people think I'm so weird when I eat my rice. And even yesterday when I was eating my yogurt with Zen basil seeds and what was it? Something else I don't remember. And Cheerios. Yeah.
Oh, Cheerios.
I was
yeah.
enjoying it so much, and it looked so disgusting.
I did.
but to me, it tastes and again, the coach wouldn't give me that. How would they know? So it's there are things in bodybuilding that you have to learn yourself, and then you give that feedback to your coach, and then your coach helps you with the other parts. But your coach is not going to do everything for you. Like you need
Nor
to
should
have
they.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Like you need to have independence.
Well, we always like to say, I could give you a fish or I could teach you how to fish. If I give you a fish, you're going to get to eat a meal now. If I teach you how to fish, then you're going to be able to feed yourself for your whole life.
Yeah.
And that's what you're saying you're doing with your clients. You're giving them the tools so that even when they're not being coached by you anymore. I mean, I think about all the things I learned throughout the time I was competing that I still apply today, even though I'm retired from competing. And had I not done macros for all those years, I can now eyeball and also know, what my body needs. I can feel it. If I'm eating a meal, I know when it's time to stop eating, I know how to make the choices that are going to be best for me because I did it. And it's exactly what you said. And I remember starting out doing macros at first, it felt very overwhelming. And I was like, oh my God, I'm never going to get this. And that's why I always tell people, like, you are going to. It's just a matter of just,
Being
time.
open to learning.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like you said, keeping it simple. Don't overwhelm yourself. You don't need to create a new day every day. Repeat it.
No, yeah.
Trade
I
out
eat the
one
same
thing.
every day. And that's, I think, like, I made a cheat sheet for my clients, and it's a file that, so when I provide my clients different resources. Also on Trainerize, I created like groups, and they're kind of tabs of different resources. So one's like nutrition resources and then posing resources and stuff. So my nutrition resource, I have a file that says how to be successful on MyFitnessPal. And I say, like, you're not supposed to track as you go. Like,
Right.
because then it's going to be a mess. You're not going to hit your goals by the end of the day. I wake up every morning and I log in all my food for the day. And that's what I'm going to eat. Because then I know exactly how to time my meals. If it's 3 p.m. and I'm eating meal 3, I'm like, I know I'm behind a meal, because I eat 6 times a day. So I need to make sure I'm on track with timing. Because then if you have like too many calories at the end, like it's so much, you're not going to finish everything. And then you messed up. So to prevent that, you create yourself a meal plan, just like Greg said, and then get something that works for you. When you start feeling like you're getting bored or tired or something isn't doing well with your gut, then you do some little changes here and there. And it's simple that way. Like you find what works for you and you work with that, and then you make changes along the way. But like, I think, we were talking about in the athlete summit, how like bodybuilding, you have to like boring, the repetition, like I've been eating the same breakfast for probably a year. I can't get tired of my breakfast. It's like eggs with my bread and my cream cheese. Like I love that. And I like when you lower my calories, my macros, I move other things, other meals. I can leave that one intact because I love that one so much.
Which is really what it's all about. And some of that's trial and error. I know we wanted to talk about, some of the old school things versus kind of the newer things. And so number one, we kind of really covered which is like meal plan versus macros. What other things have you seen evolve, as a coach, as an athlete, maybe some old practices that you see now?
Cardio.
Tell us more.
God. Oh my God, cardio. I can't believe that I get lean with such short. I mean, I can believe because I know why. We work on my metabolism. But yeah, cardio for me is like and I've done like 2 hours of cardio my first, few preps. But
not with me.
No, not with you. But when I hear people saying, "Oh, I'm doing 2 hours of cardio," I'm like, how do you have time?
Right.
Like you work out 2 hours and then that's 4 hours of your day. And then you have to sleep 8. So that's already 12 hours.
In some cases, they're just not sleeping, and that's not good either.
No, that's the thing too. Is like I have gotten clients from other coaches, and she was like, I can't sleep more than 4 hours a day, and I'm like, why not? Oh, because I'm on 2 hours of cardio. It's not effective. Your body is not going to. You're not going to get lean, because now you're insulin resistant because you're not sleeping. So I think they go too hard. And also a lot of the times is they don't work on metabolism. That's like a big thing, that I've noticed with old school bodybuilding. We didn't know how to work on somebody's metabolism. Like there was no carb cycling. There wasn't that knowledge of like, let me make sure that we are at least at this amount of calories in maintenance before we start prep. Because if your maintenance is like 1,500, what the hell? What room do I have to put you in a deficit, And so first things first, like let's figure out your maintenance calories. Where are they? And then do we need to work on that? Okay, let's take time and work on that. Like old school bodybuilding does not look like that, Old school bodybuilding is like, let's just go and get it done and do whatever. And it's not effective when you're not resting and you're overwhelmed and now your gut is crap too because you're eating asparagus and tilapia every day. And the
longevity is not there at that point. Because even if it works, because we've seen this, like somebody might do kind of that crash diet over cardio, kind of run the metabolism to the ground, and maybe they even do well at their first 1 or 2 shows. But then what happens is that first of all, either they don't want to do it anymore because it's miserable, or their body stops responding and they don't know what to do. So like we're looking at it
traumatizing.
Exactly. So we're backing up from it and going, okay, what's the big picture? How are we maintaining our health, not just for our life and because we get one body to live this life in, but then also like if I do want to keep being able to compete or do other fitness endeavors, then I need to be, thinking more long-term and not just, I'm just going to cram and grind as hard as I can and then hope for the best.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think that there's no teaching how to live a balanced life. And look, for most bodybuilding is a hobby. Like, why should it be so miserable? And why
it doesn't have to be.
Why would you want a hobby to be miserable? It should be enjoyable. It should be fun. It should be exciting. It shouldn't be dreadful. Like, oh my God, I can't do anything, and I'm still 8 weeks out. I'm like, what? Why? At 8 weeks out, you should not be feeling like that. I'm sorry. Like, you shouldn't. If you are, there's something wrong with your plan.
Yeah.
Like, you should not. I mean, yeah, maybe like 2 weeks out, 3,
Sure.
then you're more drained, like you're depleting, like we're gonna start depleting. But until you don't start depleting, you should not be feeling like shit, for sure. And then there's a lot of muscle loss too in this process. Like you're going so hard, you're in such an extreme caloric deficit that all of the muscle that you built before, is it still even there? How do you know? You know, like you're there's no way to get lean and not lose any muscle. Like it happens, you know.
Sure.
Especially with most people.
Right, because you're in a deficit.
Yeah.
Right.
So, let's make sure. And so the starting point of prep is probably a big thing that people overlook. I think, they're skipping that phase, making sure that we have all the basics down, that we have, that you're in a good time of your life, that you're in good health, that your body fat isn't too high. Because
but those factors usually are the last factors considered. The first factors considered is what show do I want to do? When do I want to compete?
Yeah.
That's the focus instead of creating conditions for success, which is focusing on all the things that you're talking about, which is making sure that we have a good foundation. Your macros are at a reasonable level so we have a place to go. Your cardio is low or no, and you're in a happy place. You're not going through any life trauma. We don't have anything happening in that prep period, like you're traveling for a month, or you're going to 3 bachelorette or bachelor parties during this time period. I mean, these things will affect your prep. And so I think there's so much more focus on what the end state is, the outcome, and there's less focus on the process in terms of have we built enough of the things that we need to have in place so that you can be successful. And everybody's going to be a little bit different. So as we're talking about this, when you say 1,1600 calories, there are some people whose metabolism is just that way. It's just slow that way. And that
we need to figure it out why.
Well, there's also different size people. So saying that too. I mean, there are some people, the more muscle you have, the more.
In wellness though, like you should not have
that's fair. And I know you were talking about it from the wellness perspective, and that's just why I want to give that different people are different, have different metabolisms, and some people's metabolisms just run slower. And so they are not going to be high food or high calorie people ever. And so we just have to work around that to the extent, but it's still maximizing what we got during that improvement season and why improvement season is so important.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. But like as in a wellness standpoint, I think that a good starting of prep, I mean, if you're like a young wellness, you should maybe like 2,200 calories, probably like the least amount I like to start my wellness clients in prep, because muscle is so precious in wellness. And we really need that fullness. So if you're like at 1,000 calories a day by show day, you're going to look really flat. And then like if you build some sort of insulin resistance, then I can't even carb you up that well. Especially if it's your first show, you don't know how your body's going to react. There's a lot of learning in the first season. If you're a true novice, and especially if you have a new coach, like it's a lot of learning, like how your body reacts to carbs, how your body reacts to sodium. Like we're all so different. And
if I can, just one thing, the foot stomp on that is that this weekend, one of the, I don't know if, I think it was one of our coaches that talked about this, is that a lot of people will pause or fire their coach after a show to during improvement season. And I think that was such a gem that somebody said that, is that the coach is really most important during the improvement season.
And the reverse. I mean, that's when all the shit happens.
Right. Right. And I mean, I'm sure you've experienced this, where you have somebody like, okay, I'm going to go do my improvement season or my off season, and I'll come back. And then they come back and they look the same, or they've regressed. And then it's like, and they're like, okay, I'm ready to prep. And you're like, well, but there's nothing I can do now that's going to help you bring in a better package, because that opportunity was during that.
Yeah, exactly. And like I have a lot of new clients, like true novice girls that are just like, oh, I just want to do it once and step on stage as a bucket list. I'm like, that's cool, that's fine, but make sure that you are planning to stick with me until you're fully reversed. Because, you know, if you want to do a bodybuilding show and then carry on that lifestyle with you after that, I need you to teach you how to reverse. You can't just go out and eat whatever, especially
It's a very sensitive time for your
Well,
body.
and,
Yes.
and,
Yes.
and let's also be clear on this. There's no magic to a reverse.
No.
Okay. The process is simply adding in more calories and allowing your metabolism to slowly build up over time after your metabolism slows down so much during prep, just because of the caloric deficit. So there's no magic to reverse. But what there is, and where the magic comes in, is the accountability piece.
Yes.
So if you don't have that coach accountability and that opportunity to work with somebody who's going to be guiding you step by step, and you're leaving it to your own designs, then your brain is going to be subject to all the hormonal surges. Your brain is going to be subject to all the things that you may be seeing commercials for this fast food restaurant, that fast food restaurant, all the cravings that attach as your hormones start to normalize and produce those surges. And if you don't have the right guidance during that, it's just you're basically having a three-leg, tying one hand behind your back and one leg up, because the accountability piece is the most important part, structure and accountability.
And I just wanted to add too, though, there's two sides to that coin, because the one side, you know, what you're talking about is control, you know, keeping a little bit of self-control around there, having this. But I've seen people on the other side of it where they're scared. They're so scared to eat, where they need to get their food up faster, and then they're not, you know, getting back to that healthy level. So I mean, I definitely think there's
really
and then
good
not to
thing.
mention that it's so rough. Like, you need somebody to be like, it's okay. Like, like you need that person. Like, I call you crying sometimes, like, Jamie, you know,
You call her crying all the time.
not all the time.
and you know, and it's like, I need to be told that it's okay. You know, it's okay. We're gonna be fine. It's not that big of a deal. Like, we overthink, we create weird scenarios
because
in our
we care
head.
so much.
Yeah, and it's scary. It gets to a place sometimes. It's scary to be there by yourself. Like, you don't know what's happening with your body. And then after prep, all of your hormones are down regulated. You're trying to get a period back if you lost your period during prep. Like, when your body's trying to get that first period, oh my God, it's rough. Like, it's painful, it's rough. And also, like, it's such a good time to build metabolism. Such a good time. In fact, I have a client who we went through a mini cut because I wanted to cut her and then reverse her to work on her metabolism. And like, that was what I wanted to do. And so, and she did amazing. And now she's in prep and she's thriving on like over 2,000 calories a day. And it's her second season. And she was like, I'm not struggling for the first time. Like, I haven't cheated on my diet at all. And I don't have the desire to cheat. Like, I have no temptation. I'm good. Like, my mental state is so good. Everything is flowing so well. And I'm doing only 30 minutes of cardio. Like, it's doable for me. So that reverse is definitely going to set you for your next prep. Like, that's when we start, you know, to build the foundation. And for looking at my metabolism, you know, people are like, how do you eat so much? Because I was one time that girl that couldn't eat anything that I would blow up. Like, I had insulin resistance. Like, it was horrible for me to drop weight. And now I'm like one of the girls that eat the most. Like, it's crazy how much food I eat. And people are like, how do you eat this much?
You're sometimes like, how am I eating this much? It's like, I have to keep finishing.
And that's why I have to eat every 2 hours, because I can't, like, otherwise.
It's so much.
Yeah. So my day, like, I eat all day. Like, think about every 2 hours. Sometimes I have to eat every hour, because when I work out, I have a longer period than 2 hours. Because even though between the time I go to the gym, so my drive to the gym is 30 minutes, the drive back is 30 minutes, and then I'm at the gym between 2 to 2.5 hours. So I have to compact my meals, and some of my meals are just an hour in between because I can't handle too much food at once. And like my boyfriend will look at me, he's like, God, you eat all day. Like, you eat all day. I'm like, yeah, I do. But look at me, like, I'm leaning. And that's because I was able to do that reverse process. You know, that's because I really focused on on, on the long-term goal. I'm like, it's okay. Like when I'm fully reversed, then I can go out and eat sushi but then when I do fully reverse, I don't even care for those foods either. It's so funny. Like when I'm in my off season, remember when you were like, you can have 2 untracked meals a week. I was like, what? I'm not doing that. Give me a go. And you were like 800 calories. I was like, extra? Do you want me to eat 800 extra calories? I did not have the desire of eating that. Remember, we had to work on me letting go a little bit of my diet so that I could relax my mind. And it took me a while to get there because I just didn't really see the need of that like at that time. But I understand like the psychological need of it. So
because we don't want to get to the point where we've been so strict for so long
So
without
burned out,
then we got to let out the pressure valve, let out a little bit of pressure just to make sure that once we get deep into prep and there's no room for error.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So all phases are very important. You can't skip any of them.
Yeah, absolutely. What else? Anything else you wanted to talk about that in terms of things that you noticed in terms of the old school versus of the
Peak
things
week. Oh my God, peak week. I was just telling you, my peak week was rice, no salt, with raisins. I don't know why raisins, but yeah, that's what I ate on my first peak week. But yeah, I mean, it's so funny. Like I think peak week, when I became a coach, that was my biggest fear. It was peak week because it's such a time that needs to be so precise. And you're like, what information do I gather to be able to help my client? And it's so different for everybody. Like it's not like even like my peak week is not going to be remotely similar to somebody else. Like the food I eat, the amount of sodium,
the amount of water.
But yeah, so now whenever people say, oh, my coach cut sodium, I'm like, oh, 2010 is back, because like you're going to go flat, water, same thing. Like, oh, I haven't been drinking water. I didn't drink water. Well, so on my second show ever that I did in 2015, I remember that I was so depleted of water and salt. My coach was doing my tan and he said, all right, lift your arms. I lifted my arms and I passed out. My mom was freaking out and they were eating pizza and they're like, here, take a bite immediately. Like everybody was freaking out that I was, what is going on? But yeah, I mean, of course I wasn't drinking water or eating salt,
right.
So now we have knowledge and some people still don't use it. Remember the butter stick I told you? One of my clients came and she sent me her old protocol and her coach had her eat butter sticks on peak week. So I came to her, I was like, Jamie, is this something that people do I wasn't aware of?
New to me.
So, yeah, so there's a lot of, and peak week for me is like probably my most, as a coach, is my most like time where I'm really trying to get as much information. I'm trying to reach out to other coaches, make sure everything is good, that I have like all the knowledge I need. Like, I texted Drew. I'm like, hey, like this is going on with my client. What do you think I should do? Which is why I love being a FitBody Fusion coach because, I have so much support.
Yeah, we get to collaborate.
Yeah. All the meetings that we have, the weekly meetings are so helpful. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure you probably remember your peak week and then compare it to the peak week of your clients today.
Oh my gosh. Yes. I mean, my very first peak week, we did a water load. I think I got up to 3 gallons of water and then we depleted water down to nothing. We did a sodium load and then we decreased sodium down to nothing. And I mean, I just looked emaciated up there. And so,
with eyes.
Yes. So it's very interesting. And I love that you wanted to do this topic because of course I've definitely done a lot of the old school style of peaking and training and all those things. And, while a lot of things do still apply, of course, we have so many more tools, so much more knowledge. Yeah. We understand that we need water. We need sodium to help shuttle the water and the nutrients into the muscle to give that nice full round appearance. Like it's very interesting and cool to watch the evolution of knowledge. And we're still learning. every single day. All of us are still learning. And I mean, the science is still evolving.
Yeah.
You know, for the longest time, there weren't any studies on fit people. I mean, all studies were done for the most part on either, geriatric
Average, yeah.
or obese people, and even now there's, we're getting more, but it's going to be cool to see how we continue to evolve over the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years,
It is really interesting. Yeah. And you see like the physiques are much better quality.
Oh, yes.
And I think you can be healthier
Yes.
today in bodybuilding. Like, because like I said, like I passed out, and, I have a close friend in Brazil, and peak week almost killed him because he depleted himself so much. And it's really sad. He was actually my first coach, and I mean, this is public. So his wife has been, posting about it and stuff. And it's so sad for me to see. So basically, his glucose dropped so much, he didn't get to eat in time. He passed out, and his wife found him on the kitchen floor like 2 days later.
Wow.
And he was in a coma for 2 months. And
Wow.
he was like a week out from his show, or less than a week. It was a few days out from his show. And he's not the same.
Yeah.
He is not independent anymore, physically, mentally.
And it's the sad part about it is it's avoidable.
Yes.
So that's the sad part about it. Like, because
Exactly.
things happen
And that's
sometimes, but
that is what's
it's the
so
avoidable
scary
things.
to me about old school bodybuilding. That is what's so scary, because like peak week can be where you really break your health.
Right.
For sure.
Or it can be where you thrive, right?
Yes.
And
Yep.
so
Yeah.
that's really what we want to
but
see
if
is
it's done wrong, you can, and it's not worth it for
like a trophy or a medal or something like that. Yeah.
It's not.
Yep.
So that's where that's why I'm really strong into that. Seeing my first coach now, he can't talk, he can't be independent, he can't eat by himself, he needs somebody to feed him, and like it's sad. It's
is.
sad.
It
It
is,
is so
for
sad.
sure.
Like I cried a lot about it already. He's a really good guy, but he, old school.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we are at
Well,
time.
before we're
Oh,
at
yeah.
time, I just
Okay.
wanted to get in one more thing.
Okay.
So I just want to know what's next for you before we start to wrap.
Let's do that.
Yeah. So what's
Well-
next for you? I mean, we've talked a lot about coaching, so we know that's a big focus for you going forward as an athlete.
Well, I mean, I'm really hoping for an Olympia qualification this year. So that's what I'm working towards. And, I'm doing a show in 6 weeks.
So she's working hard.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So I'm excited. I'm nervous. I'm scared. Like, I have a lot of feelings about it, right? Because am I big enough? I don't know. Like, we don't know until I'm there. So that is the unknown is so overwhelming sometimes, and that's what makes me anxious. It's like, did I grow enough? And because I know the density is improved a lot. Like the density, I'm so excited for you to see me later today. But yeah, so I'm just navigating through letting go of that. It's what we were talking about, the mindset, right? I think the fact that I'm giving my all, if I get there and I ends up that I don't accomplish my goal, I at least know at peace I did everything I could.
Right.
And if I need more time, it's okay. So, but I'm working really hard to achieve that. So I'm hoping to do that show in 6 weeks, and then another one in April. We'll see how it goes. Well, my show schedule never happens like we plan, right? Never.
Usually you're ready early, so we kind of planned for that this year.
Yeah. So, and then now that we had a short prep, I'm worried because it's so short. Usually we have 16 weeks. But I mean, I think I'm on track.
Yeah. Well, I guess everybody can then watch for updates to come soon.
Yes.
And how do people get a hold of you?
Instagram or, FitBody Fusion to schedule a consult. My Instagram is Thais, THAIS.wellness.
Perfect.
That it? You don't want to do one more thing?
Her checkout word.
Checkout word. There you go.
My checkout
I was
word,
leaving something for you.
Okay. Thank you.
my checkout word is strength.
All right.
Ooh,
I like that.
Good one.
Because it goes hand in hand with resilience.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing all of this. I feel like there were so many jewels in both episodes. So I'm hoping we get lots of feedback. And
I love talking, so I think podcasts are really good for me because I can talk for like 5 hours.
And I do love your openness. And I think that, people really do appreciate that. And I can relate to you in terms of, when I was competing, looking for those people that were willing to share. And, there were certain things that, I felt I was alone in, the relationship with food thing. Like there's just a lot of things that I remember going through. And there, when there were a few people that finally were willing to be authentic and transparent that I could, I was like, oh my gosh, wow, this is amazing. Like, okay, we are going through some similar things. How do we overcome these? This is how we get better. And so that's what we've embraced as a team is like, we work together, we help each other, we come up with ideas constantly because, we all have different perspectives. So I value your perspective and I appreciate you so much.
Oh, thank you. I love you guys.
We love you too. And for all of you listening, remember to that we love you, and we'll love you even more if you like, comment, subscribe, and leave your reviews. I know I'm figuring out ways to work that into a little bit more conversation. But also remember the 3 B's.
Be good to yourself.
Be good to each other, and be safe. Take care, everybody.
Thank you for tuning in to FitBody Lifestyle. We hope today's episode has left you feeling motivated and equipped to tackle your fitness goals, business challenges, and the daily dance of life. Remember to value progress over perfection. Life's tough enough alone. Find the chosen family around you to help you along the way.
If you enjoyed today's episode, we'd really appreciate it if you would subscribe and leave us a review on your favorite streaming platform. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram at FitBodyFusion.